All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to resume the fiscal court meeting now. I'm Judge Vogel, David Vogel. I thank Magistrate Steve Greenwell for taking care of the earlier part of the meeting. Just couldn't make it, but I'm here now, so I apologize for not being here earlier. Thank Magistrate Greenwell for his leadership here earlier today. I think we have a buzz on the audio. Does everybody hear that except me? All right. This meeting was to, this part of the meeting was to discuss the circumstance with the Oldham County Humane Society and Mr. Hedges' company. I believe I'm told Mr. Hedges' attorney would like to make a statement here at the beginning of this portion of the meeting. So I'll invite Mr. Moore, is it? Okay, to come forward, please.
Thank you, and magistrates, thank you all very much. I'll stay close to the mic. Is it up? There we go. I want to let you all know that earlier today, in some discussions that I had with the Assistant County Attorney Matt Hudson, it was my understanding that we have resolved Mr. Hedges Excavating's issue with Oldham County, and that is in written correspondence between myself and Mr. Hudson. We indicated that Hedges Excavating would agree to withdraw its appeal of the citation that was issued to it by Oldham County and pay the uncontested fine amount of $250 for each alleged violation for a total of $750. And this amount would be paid to Oldham County and has in fact already been paid to Oldham County. Mr. Hedges paid that earlier today on behalf of Hedges Excavating. The payment or the withdrawal of the appeal and the payment of the uncontested fine amount are not admissions by Hedges Excavating that it committed a violation of the alleged ordinances or statutes, nor is it admission by Hedges Excavating of the truth of the allegations or conclusions contained in the citation. Hedges Excavating further agreed to initiate the crushing and removal of the material causing this issue referenced in the citation from the subject property within 120 days from today, and to complete the crushing and removal within 180 days. And Oldham County agreed not to issue any further citations to Hedges Excavating in connection with this material on the property unless it has not been removed at the end of the 180-day period.
Well, you just said 120 days initially to remove it, 180 days to crush it. Is there a difference there?
It's 120 days, Judge, to initiate the removal and crushing, and 180 days to complete it. And the reason why it takes that time frame is because the company that has been contacted to do this work is unable to come right now. So we have to give them time to get here. So that's why we said we would initiate the removal and crushing within 120 days and complete it within 180 days. It's my understanding that since Oldham County through Matt Hudson agreed to those three things that I just mentioned, that the citation issued to the Humane Society would be withdrawn. And that's certainly acceptable to Hedges Excavating. And then I further stated that if there are any additional writings that need to be signed in order to memorialize this agreement, we're certainly willing to sign those documents, enter into those documents. And I did get an email back from Mr. Hudson saying we will agree to those terms. What that does from our perspective is that removes the appeal from the consideration of the Oldham Fiscal Court and resolves Hedges Excavating's issue with the county. There's currently a lawsuit that's been filed by the Humane Society pending in the Oldham Circuit Court, and that lawsuit was filed against Hedges Excavating and Don Hedges in his individual capacity. Judge Crosby has entered an order requiring the parties to take discovery and then to enter mediation to see if that matter can be resolved. If it can't, then of course it will go to trial. So I just wanted to let you know where we were with the settlement and then where we were with the pending litigation in the Oldham Circuit Court. And I'm certainly willing to answer any questions. If you all have any questions.
Before we ask any questions for you, I'd like to ask the attorneys for the Humane Society if the Humane Society agrees to the settlement proposed here and accepted by the county and the comments made by Mr. Moore.
Judge Vogel, magistrates, thanks for your time. So we're glad to hear that Mr. Hedges would like to move the dump pile. Obviously, that's what we want. We first heard of this agreement about 20 minutes ago, and we just want to be consulted. So we kind of have some concerns about what this would look like. You know, are they going to have insurance? Is there going to be a bond? What's going to happen with this dust? So we just want to be consulted, want to be included. It's also the Humane Society's property where this is located. So again, we're glad to hear that there's been some movement, that there's been some agreement to move it, but we just want to be consulted. I also wanted to thank members of the Humane Society that are here. We've got folks that are interested and really want this to be gone. That's what everybody wants here. And so that's our concern. Just really want to be consulted.
Right. Mr. Urban, do you have anything you'd like to say about this?
Judge Jim Urban, Planning and Zoning Development Director. I don't really. I understand that this is a little bit fluid at the current moment. The reality from my perspective is we have 2 citations that were issued quite some time ago. There's been negotiations that have been going on for almost a year now, and we do have to dispense with those citations so that we can close them. Now, that seems really simple, but in order to do that, at least there is now finally some movement to try to rectify the situation and remove the material. We still haven't seen, and we do, I believe, need in writing signed so that we know and understand fully if there's any other enforcement action in the future, exactly what the boundaries are. I, as part of this, would expect that the Humane Society would be interested in knowing the condition of the property after the material's removed. Is it going to be brought back to its previous state? Is it going to be graded, seeded and strawed, those kind of issues? So I would expect that to be in that agreement as well.
Right. Mr. Carter, I'm not exactly sure where this leaves fiscal court at this point.
With the county's withdrawing the citation against the Humane Society, so that resolves all of the citations that are before the court.
All right. Magistrate Woosley.
Would it be appropriate for the fiscal court to delay any decision to postpone or do away with this citation to give both sides attorneys time to meet to work out any issues? They're just now hearing about it. Would that be appropriate for us to wait 2 weeks to give them time to work out agreement?
I'm not exactly sure if the fines have been paid. Where we stand after what he owes paid. What authority do we have in regard to the agreement?
The Board of Zoning, the Code Board issues the citations, and parties that are issued the citations have the right to appeal to fiscal court regarding the citation. Both citations have been resolved, so there's nothing before fiscal court.
Mr. Hedges has paid the fine, so essentially that procedurally that would close ours. I think it makes sense that you actually, as a court, since it's in front of you, make a motion to withdraw the application or the citation from the Humane Society, and so that we would have a record of that happening, and then understand and hope that the resolution and agreement gets signed within the next 2 weeks.
It's paid, then the matters are over. What's the motion that we're gonna?
Citation to both parties.
Yeah, both parties received a citation. Procedurally, when we issue a citation, it's issued to the offender and to the property owner. That's why the Humane Society got a citation. We knew that the Humane Society isn't the operation that put the material there, but it's on their property. So I think that you do have two citations. One's been paid. The Humane Society is saying, they were here on appeal saying, we didn't put it there, we don't want to have to pay the fines. I think you have to dispense with the Humane Society. So
Understood.
there are two citations, 636, and that's the one to the Humane Society, and 637 was the one to Hedges Excavating.
36,
Citation number.
636, not, okay.
Also stated that Hedges paid 3 fines total. Is that correct?
The citation issued to both entities. There were 3 violations of the solid waste ordinance, and each one had a $250 fine. So Hedges has paid all 3 of those.
3 issues issued to Hedges.
3 were also issued to the Humane Society. They're identical except for the citation number.
So Hedges essentially paid 1 that had been issued to the Humane Society.
37 has been resolved. Yep.
Is there a motion that we dissolve or remove the citations from the Humane Society?
Just a
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion on that?
The citation, the citation 636 was 3 violations. Those 3 violations were 2 Hedges, and those 3
We
violations.
got a motion on the floor about a different subject. Why don't we take, don't we?
Well, it'll be up to the judge.
I was trying to get clarification as to where we are.
They are identical citations because one was to the property owner and one was to the depositor, let's call them, the Hedges Excavating. So they're identical with the exception of the citation number. Hedges Excavating paid the fines for 637. The outstanding is the 3 citations that are on, or the 3 violations that are on citation number 636. And Judge, I'm not sure if you want to allow a comment from.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Bridges.
I just wanted to mention that each citation says any illegally dumped material must be removed by December 29th, 2021 to avoid additional citations. That's in both citations. So I would ask the fiscal court to agree to remove the citation, provided that all the dump material is gone in accordance with this agreement. So I guess within 120 days. I just wanted to clarify that for the record. Thank you. 180.
Okay. Yeah, right. All right, so
That it was.
that's okay.
What was the motion? I'm sorry, I was.
Motion is to, and seconded, to remove the citations, dissolve them, withdraw them, that have been
Case
against the Humane Society. And really, okay. All right, against the Humane Society, not against Mr. Hedges.
And that would be
Hedges
contingent
agreed to pay, so
removed in 180 days.
we're just dealing with the Humane Society's citations right now. Okay, so motion second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. All right, so Mr. Hedges, could I ask you to come forward here for just a second? Okay, I know you're represented by counsel here, but we're all a community among friends. You've agreed that you've paid the citations. Is it, will you have this material crushed and removed in 180 days?
Yes, sir. I'm getting bids on that now. I've talked to a couple of people that crushes concrete for gravel, and I've been talking to them. I've got one that promised that he thinks, depending on his workload, that he can
Into the microphone, Mr. Hedges. We can't hardly hear you.
Sorry.
Up
Did
there.
you say all that again?
Yes,
Yes, I'm agreeing to have it done in 180 days. Uh, I think I can count on the crushing company. I know them very well, although I'm kind of looking for bids right now. We're going to crush it into concrete. We're going to crush the concrete into number 3 gravel, number 3 in dense grade. It'll come out as 2 products. It'll be a crusher with conveyors that separates it. We put it there. It's not garbage. It's not wood. It's concrete. It was there to build a road. They disagreed. The elevation's too tall. So we've never been able to come to an agreement with them. So we think the best thing to do is just crush it for gravel and use it on job sites.
all right. Well, what I'm attempting to do here, obviously, is to get you on public record here. We don't want, we want a good resolution of this to be, for you, give you enough time to get the job done, but it's got to get done. I believe the agreement is that it will be done. We just want to iron out all wiggle room here and just make sure it comes out the way everybody is expecting it to come out. And you agree to that?
Well, I'm not Jesus, but I will say if it's not done in 180 days, I'll be over there with a wrecking ball myself, crushing it and hauling it out. So I'll see
Sir,
that it gets
yeah.
done. I could say 99% chance of that. I don't want to stand here and lie, but I think there's a 99% chance it'll be done in 180 days and hopefully less.
Well, the sooner the better.
Leave myself 1% of wiggle room. That's all.
Well, well, we don't want to have to talk about this again, so, right, so.
Yeah, I agree with you. We don't want to be here again because I've been through a lot. I agreed to trade with them, free charge. I didn't want any money, and it's came to this, and it's cost me a lot. And all I want is an easement. Didn't happen.
Okay.
If you have any more questions, I'll be glad to answer.
As you, Woolsey.
Mr. Hedges, will the property be restored to its original form there when you get done crushing it?
Expect to do it no other way, but make sure I got it grass, seed, and straw back like it was. Better than it was, actually.
Okay, we've heard your agreement, and I thank you for it. Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Just to make sure everybody understands, this agreement is written that if it goes beyond 180 days, we will issue citations. And I think this time we will only issue them to Hedges Excavating, that the Humane Society won't get a citation.
Right.
So anything beyond 180 days, that 1% wiggle room, there are daily citations that will be issued if it's not complete.
All right. Okay, this was intended to be a public hearing about this. So we obviously, it's not going to be a public hearing because it's taken a different turn. I do thank the people of the Humane Society who've come today. I'm sure some of you came with the expectation that you'd be need to speak, but we don't really need to. I think we've got an agreement that all parties have agreed to. We're going to move forward here. The issue will be resolved within 180 days or less. And I think that's a good agreement if all members of the court agree. I think they do. So that's what it's all about, is getting agreements that everybody can live with. So thank you very much for being here. Right. I think the only items, anything left on the agenda other than magistrates' comments here? Okay. All right. We are at the time for the second public comment in today's session here. Is there anybody who would like to address the court? And you have to come forward, and we ask you to state your name and address, please.
Connor, may we be excused?
Yes, sir. Hang on just a second till everybody gets, who wants to leave can.
Let me know.
Okay, sure.
My name's John Lackner. I live at 1704 Mahogany Run Drive in LaGrange. Just got a question that I typically ask is, how we're doing on the pool. I've been driving by. The same cone is in the middle of the pool as it was months ago. So is anything happening or we have a chance of hitting next year season?
To take this.
Okay, sure. Magistrate Hawkins.
Parks Committee meeting this morning, and our consultant has put together their RFP, and it should go out to bid in the next 3 days in order to give anybody who wants to bid on it 2 to 3 weeks, and then the bids will need to be in on, I believe it's the 14th of October, and we'll open them in court here on October 20th. And we're still hoping to open end of May. October 20th, bids need to be in that Friday before, so the 14th.
Opening would be this 18th.
We're opening them on the 18th. Sorry, I said the 20th. And so that'll be really exciting to see. It took us a while to put the RFP together to determine what the new pool would have in it, what amenities, and what all we were going to do. Were we going to update the bathrooms? Were we going to update the snack stand? Were we going to add air conditioning? So all of that took a little bit. And so now our consultant has the RFP put together. That'll go to Melissa, our accounting person that puts it out nationwide on a website. And that should be within 3 days. So 2 to 3 weeks later. And then we'll open them in court on the 18th. So I'm excited. I'm as excited about it as you are.
Did they find the root cause, the leak? Have they determined why it was losing 12,000 gallons a day?
The chair of the Parks Committee answer that, Magistrate Tice, to see if he has. Yeah.
A microphone.
There were cracks in the lines, and there wasn't just one. In a year, we tried to find those cracks. And that we did, and we spent money every year on the pool to try to get that done. So it's just reached a point where you're fixing one crack, and next year you get another crack, and that's what was going on. The other part is, and a couple of people have made the comment that we haven't seen any action on the pool, and that's exactly right. But where we were from the time we brought in Brent Stutter and Carol, is they're changing some of the things in the pool. They're changing some of the pump systems. They're making modification upgrades and all that sort of stuff. And that's all the stuff they're doing in the specs. Hopefully, when we put it out to bid at the third week in October, then at that point, we'll have bidders and they'll be ready to go into place and start work right away. And once you start the jackhammer and all of that, that stuff can move pretty good. So even though everybody says, well, you're not doing anything, we are doing, and we've been following on that every month or so, and well, at least every month and more often than that. And we think we're in a good place. If we don't get any bids, which is happening to some projects in the world today, we're in trouble. We just have to figure out what happens next. But these people are professionals. Preston and Carol, they're in contact. They do pools all the time, all over the state and parts of the country. So they have the contacts. So not only they write the specs, they're already calling people that bid on their jobs. So we're all trying to move forward on that, and hopefully we'll get come to conclusion and get fortunate that we can get this thing done for next year. No promise. Wish I could promise, but can't.
All right, thank you. Anybody else here would like to speak? Public comment?
Thank you. Jim Silliman, County Engineer. I just want to make a correction to a matter from earlier. On the agenda item was the first reading for the proposed speed limit for Forest Park Drive. And I just wanted to make a correction that I stated that the second hearing or the second reading in the hearing would be October 4th. That actually needs to be scheduled for October 18th in order to comply with the publication requirements. So again, that public hearing will be on the 18th.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, we'll close public comment and go to the conclusion of today's meeting and see if Magistrate Likens, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just one thing. October 2nd at the Creasy Mahan Park. There is a haunted hike. It's the kids hike through the forest and collect candy. Uh, you can go. You can buy your tickets online. It's $7 a child. And that again, that's October 2nd from 3 to 7 p.m. Um, like I said, you can go online and donate candy, which I personally did myself. But Rolling on the River is a Parks Department event that's coming up October 1st at Schaumbeck Park or Westport Park. A lot of people know of it. They've got a lot of food trucks and bands playing, and it should be a fun time. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Measure Tice.
Step forward on that because I have that on my list also. And there's going to be children's bouncy big toys that they can play, and etc. And then they're going to have music, and the music starts at 11 and goes to 6. The other thing that they do have is a spooktacular, which starts off at a run out of Windemore Park, and I'm not sure exactly what time that is. We haven't had much response. Hopefully, we get more people to respond to that. But they also have the where you can bring your children, the smaller children in the afternoon, and pick up, go kind of trick or treating, and it's a trunk trick or treating. So we'll have cars and people that want to bring stuff can do that, and the kids can get candy and stuff out of that. And the trunk deal of it is from 11 to 1:30, and that's on the 15th. So that's it, Judge.
Measure Woosley.
No, I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to ask again that we revisit the 146 traffic study in Buckner.
All right. Measure Greenwell.
Nothing, Judge.
Measure Hounds.
Couple things, Judge. People have been asking about where we are moving on projects, and sometimes it's fun to read Facebook and see the comments that are on there. If you want to know where a project stands, call your magistrate. You can go on oldhamcountyky.gov, and everybody's phone number is on there and email address. You can send them an email and ask. And if you don't like the response that, say, Magistrate Tice would give you, I'm pretty sure my response is going to be the same as Magistrate Greenwell, Woosley, or Magistrate Hawkins, or Magistrate Tice. So you don't have to play the round robin game. The other thing is, I would encourage all members of the fiscal court to take a tour over the next 2 weeks. Go down to the animal control facility, take a tour of the building and see the condition that it's in. I would recommend that you call Director Polly Helton and schedule that so we don't have 3 or 4 of us to show up at one time. But I think it'd be important for our next discussion and our hopefully our next meeting if everyone has had an opportunity to take the time to tour the animal control facility. Thank you.
Measure Hawkins.
Today, Judge. Thank you.
Measure Die.
I just want to tell people that my district's out next to the Jefferson County line. The main roads coming out of Oldham County to Jefferson. There's a lot of construction going on. And of course, we know that 71's been shut down for 10 days going southbound. But they do a lot of work at night. So be conscious of the fact that those workers are out there. They want to go home and see their families too. So, thank you.
Measure Logston.
I want to say thank you, Magistrate Greenwell. You did a great job covering for the judge.
Thank you.
All right, and I'd like to add to that. I appreciated Measure Greenwell substituting and taking the leadership today. I do want to mention that 146 has come up here again, and our staff has met with the Board of Education representatives to try to identify some mechanism or ideas that will help alleviate the traffic problem at 146. And I mean, in front of Oldham County Middle School on Highway 146 and within the entire complex there. Years ago, the idea came up to have put a number of schools close together. No one at that point probably ever envisioned the population that Oldham County would grow to, or what would happen subsequently. We've got a lot of people, COVID, bringing their kids to school, staying off buses. A lot of people come together in several locations in our county at the same time every day, and it creates a major traffic hassle. And there aren't any easy solutions to it. We did in December ask for the court to support a study of 146. That opportunity passed by. We didn't all agree that we wanted to do that, but I do believe it is something that we need to keep the pressure on with the Board of Education and the KYTC. Certainly, we can. I would like to see us cooperate with that and be involved in that. We're leaders in this county. We need to solve problems, and other people have their share of issues on the table as well. And for whatever reason, that one is not as high in the priority of some individuals in the transportation cabinet as it is ours. But we're going to try again, and we did ask before for QK4 to do this study. They quoted us a price, but they were sort of a next in line for state highway work. We have to, if we're going to think about this again, we have to get whoever happens to be next in line on the state work list to get the quote us a price on what they would need. And I think if we get that price, we can go back to KYTC and try again to get at least get it entirely funded or partially funded. I don't know what it might be negotiated to, but we do have a problem there. We're well aware of it. We want to solve it, and even if we have a study, we aren't going to get it solved for a couple of years. I mean, it just things do not move that fast. And yeah, Mr. Urban, would you like to add to what I've said here?
As Judge mentioned, we did have a good meeting with the Board of Education, Jim Sill and myself, two members of the Board of Education, and they have been really looking over this for a while. There are some minor changes that they're going to review to allow more traffic to enter and exit the property, and we anticipate that will come forward fairly soon, and we'll kind of keep reviewing that with them. We also went and checked with the Transportation Cabinet, and staff at the Transportation Cabinet and Belinda and myself had a conversation, and they put together a typical project, which is everything from preliminary design, construction plans, right-of-way acquisition, utilities, and construction. And essentially the project is from 1817 Cedar Point Road to the new 393 alignment. So you might as well tie it all in. There are a lot of utilities in that area. There's right-of-way to be acquired. So the total project is in the vicinity of about $8 million. So as we always do, we will get that on the forefront of the next round of projects that we can get through at KIPTA and see if we can start getting funding for design of that.
Right. So we're not just sitting by ignoring that or trying to do something about it, but it's that all these road projects are really difficult to get your hands around. We've got the 393, 146 bypass issue. We've been told at one point that CSX and the Highway Department had agreed to how the bridge placement would go. Now we're told that LG&E has never seen that plan, and it may or may not exist. We can't do anything till LG&E moves a number of power poles, and then after they're done with that, then they're going to move gas lines, and then after they're finished with that, we have AT&T and the Spectrum to get in there, and all of this so throws a lot of time into the equation. So what we're organizing, and I can't think of the date right now, but we pulled together a meeting. Is it Monday? Okay, with all of the parties involved. We want everybody at the table to tell us exactly where they are and to speak to each other so we can get a very clear picture of what's expected there and what we can expect, because it's very frustrating to speak to one utility or organization and not get the same answer you get from everybody. So that's what we're trying to do it. So Magistrate, Logson.
How long will it take the Commerce Parkway or Magley Road, whatever it's going to be called? How long will that take to be built?
The extension of Commerce Parkway, so it'll be called Commerce Parkway, and our completion date in the contract is May of next year. We know that because, of course, winter's coming, and
It's not going to relieve all the problem, but I think it'll take a lot of the problem off 393 and the 146 area when the traffic that's trying to get on 71 can go that way. I guess a lot of them go back the other way, but I'm sure somebody will cut through there and maybe help relieve some of the tension there.
possible, yes, and it'll give an alternative to going over the railroad track on Old Grange Road and onto 146 when there's a lot of traffic. And we have seen an increase in truck traffic trying to make that movement. They'll all come now out the Commerce Parkway extension and go to exit 18. And then also, like you mentioned, it is an alternate route to get to 393. So as people find that when it's completed, it'll help relieve some of the traffic.
That up on the judge's sign, 393, 146.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you again, Magistrate Greenwell, for leading the meeting here. And, so, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
We're adjourned.